Now then, everybody, welcome to another Gridiron Reprobates podcast. This is aimed at an adult audience, so we may use coarse language and talk about adult themes.
Gun.
just went right in at the deep end there, Phil.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks of like nearly rude words, and then no, I'm just going for it today.
Yeah, just straight off.
Awesome. Well, with that out of the way, let's talk some football. But first, let's introduce all of our guests. First, it's everyone's favourite Scottish Buccaneers fan, Ryan. How's it going, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm good. 1 week to go. One week to go.
It's the last weekend without football for a good long while.
Yep. Yeah. Don't know why, Phil, you're celebrating.
Because I get to watch
other teams.
I can watch Red Zone. It's fine. I can't imagine Red Zone's going to spend a lot of time on the Seahawks this year.
We need to show every touchdown, so
yeah, they should be showing a lot of the Seahawks defense. That's for sure.
Yeah,
and the person looking forward to watching the Seahawks is our favourite Seahawks postie. It's Phil. How's it going, Phil?
All good. How are we?
Can't complain, really. Like Ryan said, we're edging ever closer to actual football being played that means things. And they're not just doing vanilla defenses and third-string quarterbacks. It's going to be amazing.
Yes.
But we're not here to talk about the preseason just gone. We're here to talk about the roster moves, the surprising cuts, the trades that probably makes the Eagles GM the best GM in the entire league, which is patently unfair if you ask me. Continues to make excellent moves. But what do you guys think? Is there any roster moves that have caught your eye since cutdown day?
I think the big trade was the Gardner Johnson one. Also that they're going to need to pay him at some point or not. We'll see what happens after the season. But I think what did they give up? Like a fifth and a sixth rounder and got Gardner Johnson and a seventh
definitely
rounder.
Wasn't very much. Yeah,
it was hardly anything. The thing about Gardner Johnson is
he's a knobhead.
Yeah.
I was ready to fight somebody.
And he pass interferes every single play, gets away with it. He 30 player, but I hate him so much. You kind of have to sometimes respect it, and that he's also really good. The reason I think I hate him so much is that he's also really good with it and does all that stuff. So yeah, I'm quite happy to see him out of the NFC South, to be honest.
He's definitely one of those players that who was on your team, you'd absolutely love. He's Ryan Jensen, but as a defensive back. If he's on your team, you think he's the best. If he's not on your team, you absolutely hate him. If he's in your division, you hate him even more. But yes, I'm also glad to see that he's no longer in the NFC South. So at least one of our receivers will be able to get free, hopefully, against that. Not Evans against Latimer, obviously, but one of the other three amazing receivers we've got should be able to get open. Yeah, it was a big trade, and it was an area of need for the Eagles, so they get better again. And they offset that by trading Jalen Reagor. Oh crap! Where's Reagor gone? He went to the Vikings. Yeah, he went to the Vikings.
So
wait, another good piece of business for the Eagles. Offloading a. Is it fair to call him a bust? Is it fair to call him a bust?
How many years is is he now?
I think, is this his third year? I think this would be coming into his third season. So it's potentially a little early to call him a true bust, but he's certainly trending towards being a bust.
He's not lived up to expectations.
Definitely not. Definitely not. So yeah, that's a great bit of business all round from the Eagles. They improved their secondary. They offset the loss of draft capital by getting rid of a wide receiver that blatantly wasn't in their plan. So good bit of business all round from the Eagles there. It's really annoying.
It's all right. You don't have to play them that often.
No, it's just...
And they're going to beat up on the Cowboys, and that makes everybody happy.
That is true. Everyone's looking forward to Eagles-Cowboys twice. I was going to make a point then about who Gardner Johnson will have to cover. Because generally he's been, well, for the Saints, he's been playing as like a nickel corner, playing in the slot mostly. So in that division, he's going to be facing the likes of, well, I think CeeDee Lamb will play a fair bit in the slot. Who's the guy? The Giants, not sure. They drafted him last year. They're not sure if they want him.
Tony.
Kadarius Toney, correct. Yeah, he's going to have to cover him. And he's going to... I've forgotten who the Commanders drafted as well. I'm showing my professionalism and well-preparedness for this here podcast. Who did the Commanders draft? Their wide receiver? We're all this like right on the ball, but that guy.
I don't look at anything Commanders since they became the Commanders.
Yeah,
Until they bring back the full team, they don't exist to me.
Fair enough. Any other thoughts on what's been going on with the Eagles?
We said it last week. They just look really good.
Yeah, they do.
Keep improving. Not much more to add. The worry about if Hurts needs to have the ball in his hands, that is still the only worry. But yeah, they look good.
They're smart. They'll give him quick options, so it's either just quickly run or just quickly launch it. Just nice quick, so he doesn't have to spend too much time holding on to it. It's either go for the run or nice easy pass, nice quick something. When you've got people like AJ Brown and Devontae Smith to throw, you're going to get guys who are going to get themselves open, or they're going to be quick options. And that's all. That's what you ideally want for him, is to him to not have to overthink.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. So, shall we move on and talk a bit about the quarterback situation for the San Francisco 49ers? Now, everybody and his wife thought that that Jimmy Garoppolo would either get traded or cut. And the 49ers pulled out the secret third option, which was give him a contract extension. Now, for Jimmy Garoppolo, I think it's very good for him because he's got guaranteed money coming in this season, which he didn't have previously. He's got some confidence about his financial situation, and he gets to be an unrestricted free agent at the end of this season, so he can go anywhere he wants. So for him, really, it's really, really good. But for the 49ers, what do we think about them keeping him on the roster?
I think it's because they're sort of doing that forward planning of, if a team who wants to make the playoffs loses its QB and doesn't have faith in the backup, look what we have here. A QB that doesn't crap the bed that often. Would you like to come and get him? Rather than us cutting him, give us draft capital or other things. I think that's why they did it. And then if by the end of the season they're very confident with Trey Lance in the building, then yeah. And from what everybody has said in the building is Jimmy G's a really good guy. He's a good locker room guy, and you don't want to lose people like that if you don't have to be, because it's not like they're paying him a huge amount this year, is it? Like 6.5.
Yeah,
he's making top end of backup money.
Which
but
basically what he would be, is he's the top end of the backups. That's pretty good. And like I say, if say Trey Lance goes down, or if another quarterback goes down, and people are like, "Ooh, could we have him maybe for like this?" It's a smart forward planning thing, rather than just literally going, "Yep, it's just Trey," and then Trey gets injured like week 2. He gets knocked out. Concussion protocols for the rest of the season or whatever. You've got a backup that works with the players you've got.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah, I think it's really smart on both sides, to be honest. Exactly. If Trey Lance goes down injured, if Trey Lance isn't as good as what they were hoping them to be, and they're on that edge of their season maybe turning, you have that option. Do we go with someone that's got us to a Super Bowl and another NFC Championship game? You have that option. I don't think they would do that, but you've got that option. On the other hand, if a team gets an injury or the season's going down the shitter and think, right, we need to do something, here's draft picks for top end backup, arguably. I would think he's in the top 32 NFL quarterbacks for me is out of everyone out there. So there's going to be
why, maybe not, but
mid-season
this
panic.
why. Yeah.
But
he may not be a top 32 talent, but he's definitely top 32 consistency.
Yeah.
He's not Carson Wentz. He's not got the Carson Wentz ceiling, but he also doesn't have the Carson Wentz shit the bed against the Jaguars floor.
yeah, you put Jimmy G in that game, and I think Jimmy G wins that game.
Yeah.
So, and then of course it works for him because at the end he either gets traded for and gets paid wildly, because if you trade for someone mid-season, you need to pay them, or you wait till the end of the season as a backup. You're healthy, you get paid anyway.
Someone will get there.
I think it's a smart win-win on both sides move for that. So it's interesting to see it. I didn't expect something like that to happen, but then it happens. You're like, that's quite smart.
Yeah.
The thing that gives me a little pause is it a vote of no confidence in Trey Lance? Is it a kind of, we don't think he's quite ready to be the full-time starter? Because like you said, Phil, we know he's well-liked within the locker room. And so there's going to be people in his camp that think he should be the starter. So I think there's potential there for it to cause a rift in the locker room. Definitely cause a rift in the fan base, much to our friend Simon's chagrin.
Oh no, Simon's going to be upset. Oh.
Simon's permanently upset. He's like
Sorry, yeah, you wouldn't notice the difference.
He's always upset, but there is potential there for it to cause a schism in the locker room. So, but I think, like, from a purely football point of view, it definitely makes sense. But yeah, it came out of nowhere, and I was surprised to see it.
Yeah, it was a surprise, but it makes sense. Like I say, it makes sense from a football point of view. I mean, locker room wise, it's going to depend on the type of players they have and their mentality and so forth. I mean, if you've got the wrong kind of group of guys, maybe they'll be like, "Oh, I'm in his camp. Oh, I'm in his camp," and it'll be very sort of high school. Or you got a bunch of like professional grown-ups who are just like, "It's cool. He's a good guy. He's in the locker room. We're all friends."
Professional grown-ups in the NFL. What?
Some of them might be. Some of them.
Some of them.
I'm not sure on the. I don't think Trey Lance will be too bothered. He knows he's a starter. He knows he's the guy. The fact that they're happy to, if he knows, and he might even enjoy that. Look, I need to play well. I know I need to play well. Jimmy G's there. I'm the guy. I'm going to. And then see at the end of the year when he is the guy, then Jimmy G's gone. So I don't know if it's. I don't think it's been meant to be, or he'll take it as a. If you're not good enough, then blah blah blah. I think he won't mind.
Yeah, cool. All right, let's talk about a team not too far away. Actually, no, they're quite far away now, aren't they? Now that they've moved to Nevada, and they're quite an incredible move to cut their first round pick from last year. Tackle Alex Leatherwood has been cut by the Raiders, which is an amazing thing to happen. I don't think anyone has ever cut their first round draft pick after only 1 year with the team. Does this just prove that Josh McDaniels doesn't know what he's doing, is completely dysfunctional? Discuss.
Didn't the Bears pick him up?
The Bears did pick him up.
What did
Yes, they did.
Wow.
Well, the Bears could do with any sort of offensive lineman type figure on their offensive line. So I'm not surprised that the Bears have pounced on him. The surprise was that he was cut.
Yeah.
With like, when I evaluated the offensive lineman going into that draft, I didn't rate Alex Leatherwood that highly, but I didn't think he was terrible. I just didn't think he was a first round draft pick. He was definitely in my kind of, you bring him on slowly and he will slowly become a decent player for you. But to get cut after one season, and it's not like the Raiders' offensive line is full of talented players. They need all the talent they can muster there.
Yeah.
So I don't understand. I don't understand.
Tim was talking about this in the Discord earlier, and he was saying that Leatherwood was just awful. Basically, it wasn't even a rotating door; he was just a hole in the line rather than just being a door. So I don't know. Something like this, maybe it's something behind the scenes we don't know about. It's a non-football related issue. Or maybe it is just that he's just been super struggling with adapting from college to the professional game. But yeah, it is a bit surprising. It's a first round pick that you've just launched out the building.
Boosie Magic has come in with some knowledge. Isaiah Wilson will be the last one cut after a season, but he had serious effort issues. Correct. I remember. Now that you brought it up, clearly I remember it. I definitely didn't remember it 5 minutes ago when I started. No, I knew that the whole time. The whole time I knew. Yeah, but you're right. He was not. He was not putting it like Alex Leatherwood. He played every single game for the Raiders last season. He wasn't very good, but there were also worse offensive linemen than him in the league. And I think if the Raiders had persisted with him, maybe bumped him inside to guard, where some of his physical deficiencies would be less obtrusive to playing decent football, they could have got some value out of him. But no, they just cut him. And now he's a bear. I don't understand that.
Yeah, it has to be some sort of behind the scenes thing. After a year, first round, coach him up. It takes some players longer than a year to get used to the NFL. So I don't know who that's an indictment of, the fact that they've just cut him. So
yeah, it's either a case of something behind the scenes or just the coaches couldn't be bothered, which is a very worrying idea. Just I can't be bothered to get making better. Just send them out. It's fine. Someone else can. You're a coach. You're supposed to coach a little bit.
They didn't. The Raiders didn't have a first round pick this year, did they?
No, because they was it. This what did they give the pick
Adams
away? That's it, Devontae Adams. Was it this year? Was it next year's pick that they gave for Adams? Year? I can't remember.
I'm just looking at the last 3 first round picks, and it's Leatherwood, Damon Arnett, and Henry Ruggs.
Oh,
it's the last 3. The year before that was okay. It was Farrell, Josh Jacobs, and Jonathan Abram, but the 3 after that, Ruggs, Arnett, and Leatherwood.
Oof.
Not
Jail, a day. Wherever Arnett is, and the Bears.
Yeah.
So, Mike Mayock should have stayed on the telly. Speaking of what Mike Mayock should have done, the Raiders have also traded Trayvon Mullen, which continues gone to the Cardinals, continues the what on earth is going on with the Raiders. I don't like what are the Raiders doing? This is an inauspicious start to the Josh McDaniels era.
Yeah, I don't think they know. It's always been because Mayock was on when Gruden was there, wasn't he? He was the GM while Gruden was
there. They came together, I'm sure.
They did.
So is McDaniels Mayock's choice, or is he just someone that Mayock got? Or I don't know. No. It speaks to dysfunction somewhere in that area. They're not somewhere between the coaching, the GM, the people who make personnel decisions. there's some kind of dysfunctional issue where players that they've drafted aren't really the right kind of guys for it. Like, you could have got Leatherwood. You didn't need to use a first-round pick on Leatherwood. You could have got him later in the draft, and then he wouldn't have been such a. Because I'm assuming you get paid more if you're a first-round pick than if you're a third, fourth.
On your first contract, certainly.
Yeah. So you could have got him, and he would have been cheaper, and then he wouldn't. You wouldn't have needed to cut him if you were trying to make cap room for something else. It just smacks of bad organisation.
I agree.
Incompetence at some level.
It just seems to be it's a Raiders thing of just going for it's talent that matters, and if they have their guy, it's their guy, and they'll pay him. And you look at Raiders even when Gruden and Mayock first came in, and it was bringing in Antonio Brown in a massive contract, and then both cutting him, which was the right decision, obviously, but
yeah, why did you?
The right decision was don't give him a lot of money in the first place.
Yeah. What are we doing?
It just seems to be a Raiders thing where they tend to ignore the personality side of players, and it seems to be a case with all of it. The decision making, whether that be head coaches, draft picks, free agency signings, it just seems to be a Raiders thing.
Yeah, there's no sort of clear plan as to what they're aiming for. It's not like they're going, right, what we're going to do is we're going to build a solid, offense. We're going to build a solid offensive line. It's just picking bits and pieces up in a sort of scattershot kind of way. Getting Devontae Adams, great piece of business. Well done. But what have you done the rest of the offseason?
Yeah, and if they start poorly, what's Adams going to be like? If he doesn't get the ball, he's getting paid all this money.
Yeah.
I don't think the passing game is going to be an issue for the Raiders. I think the problem is going to be keeping their quarterback upright and stopping anyone else from scoring on them. Their passing game will be fine as long as Derek Carr can run for his life and get quick passes away. Then they'll be all right. Which fortunately for him, he's pretty good. He's got pretty good at getting away with the quick passes, so that's all right.
Yeah, he's got some decent people to throw it to. You got Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfrow, Waller as well. You've got some decent people to throw to. He's basically going to be doing Russell Wilson at the Seahawks.
Yep, only much less athletic.
Except, he's going to get caught occasionally. He's going to get used to the slide.
Are there any other roster moves that have intrigued anybody?
Josh Gordon.
I was going to say, Tennessee picked him up.
Yeah, which again, it's just ignoring the personality side, and he's had how many ever comebacks, but he actually looked okay at the Chiefs. I thought they would have continued with him, and they're not exactly, after losing Hill, they're not flush with talent. I know they've got Juju now. Also a couple of fast wide receivers, but I think Josh Gordon just gave them something different and looked okay. So I was nice to see him. Not in their 53 anyway.
Nope.
Yeah.
The mysterious O.J. Howard.
Didn't pick up a spot with the Bills, which he had so much promise as a draft pick when the former first round pick for the Buccaneers. So much potential, hasn't lived up to any of it. And when you Cameron Brate is a decent tight end, but if you're a first round draft pick, you should be beating Cameron Brate to any potential targets.
Yeah,
and just never happened. And now he's on his third team. I can't remember. Someone picked him up off waivers.
I think it was the
Bears.
The Bengals led them. So.
The Bears. Let's assume everyone goes to the Bears. The Bears need everybody.
Have you got pictures of a GM that incriminated them some kind of way? Go to the Bears. They'll pay you the money. Have they still got Jimmy Graham? Please tell me he's
Probably.
Got one, right?
I don't know. What anything you spotted, Phil, that has intrigued you?
I mean, the Josh Gordon one was the one that popped to me just because, I mean, I want good things for the guy. It's just trying to keep him on the straight and narrow and keep him on the field. You know,
Well, it's also,
need a receiver. They've lost their best one.
it's also the fact he hasn't played football in nearly 5 years in any decent capacity at the very least. Yeah. When he was with the Browns, he was amazing, but yeah, you're out of football for that long. You're not going to have any sort of match sharpness at all.
No.
And he's getting on a bit. How old is he? 34?
As old as that? Is he been that long?
What does Google say about this?
I'll find out now. He's 31.
31. Heck. It just seems like he's 34.
Yeah,
but it just shows how much natural talent there. He's hardly played any football for 5 years and has looked like this guy might actually still have something.
Yeah.
Despite that, so it's a shame. His career's kind of not reached the heights it should have, but unfortunately, them's the breaks sometimes.
Them's are the breaks. What was I going to say? Oh, yes. So, I literally just read his name and I've forgotten it. Where is it? Tyrod Taylor cannot catch a break. He's out once again. after it looked like he was going to back up Daniel Jones on the Giants, and if he was backing up Daniel Jones on the Giants, there's a fair chance he could have got a few starts. But nope, he is once again injured and unlikely to see out the season. Poor man cannot catch a break.
What did the doctor do?
I think it was a more run-of-the-mill injury rather than someone accidentally collapsing his lung.
Oh, but that unleashed Justin Herbert, didn't it? Onto the world.
It did. But
the Chargers better cost a lot of money.
One with the needle. That's what that was.
What cost,
I'm getting you out of the word.
That is a dark conspiracy theory, Phil. Like the doctor knew exactly how good the backup quarterback was, and so collapsed really the lung of the starting quarterback.
Dr. Herbert. Justin's dad.
I'm Dr. Justin. Yes. Another Justin. Just going to take this needle. Yeah.
We got any other roster cuts?
A couple of serviceable running backs. Philip Lindsay and Sony Michel. Both cut from roster. So
Philip Lindsay's quite a surprise.
Yeah.
I always thought he was half decent.
Yeah, he played okay in preseason as well from what I've seen. So I was surprised to see him not make roster. But someone sure, I'm not sure if he's been picked up yet, but someone has to because he's pretty good. He'll give him touches and he'll do some stuff. Yeah, a good option to have. So I was surprised to see that.
Oh, here's one I saw. Did you see that the Cowboys are only going to carry one quarterback on their 53-man roster? That is not even... Look at the surprise on your face.
Who was the backup?
Who was Cooper Rush.
Hmm.
But they cut all three of their other non-Dak Prescott quarterbacks and are going into the season with just Dak Prescott on the active roster. So they better hope that Dak Prescott doesn't get injured in a game because they'll have no one to back him up.
Surely that can.
I was going to say the Cowboys
use that before we go. That's
aren't they?
Yeah.
Excuse me, that Jimmy G guy. Can we have him? Why? That's knees blown.
It's Mike McCarthy's analytically driven brain that he was working on his year out. And the analytics must tell him that the best strategy is to only take one quarterback into the regular season.
It's Kellen Moore is the coordinator there, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. Great quarterback when he was playing at
I was going to
Boise
say,
State.
was he a quarterback? Maybe they'll just sue him up.
They Tony Romo down from the booth.
Yeah.
Oh,
Tony.
we can't afford him.
Maybe Mike McCarthy's been watching the coach up at Seattle for football. I can do that. I could be the backup coach.
Oh, we could just take a running quarterback, just batter everyone out the way.
Running. Yeah, it's an interesting strategy, Con. Let's see how it pays off for them.
That's how David White stamping on Dak's foot in the first game is how that'll work out on them.
I'm sorry. Who's your backup? Somebody goes and finds Ezekiel Elliott and he goes like, yeah, you can throw instead. What? It's fine.
Yeah,
just direct snaps to him.
So, getting a bit Buccaneers centric for a second, what did you think of the Tyler Johnson cut, Ryan?
See, I was surprised at first, but he's had a case of the dropsies ever since he came into the league. He's made some big catches. Don't get us wrong. A lot of it in the playoff run as well. It was a big one against the Saints. He drew the flag against the Packers in the championship game. But I don't think Brady trusts him. I think he trusts Perriman and Scotty Miller. And I think that's what it came down to. Who Brady trusted in. And it was those guys. Also, we got the three receivers as well that played really well during the preseason. There was Tompkins, Stearns, and was it Geiger? Was the third possibly?
Let's say yes.
Yeah. Obviously getting rid of them, but Todd Bowles said the reason that it was Perriman included over Johnson was special teams considerations. And I seen a tweet saying Perriman in his last 6 years of his career only has 6 special team snaps. So I was surprised to see that in Zeus. I don't know if he thought people just wouldn't look into it and just accept that as an answer instead of coming out. Brady doesn't trust Johnson. So yeah.
Maybe they were getting the reasons confused between Scotty Miller and because Scotty Miller does play gunner and is useful at special teams, and he's one of the few true speed options that there is on that receiving core. So you can understand why he's still there despite not having a great preseason and spending most of last year injured. But yeah, I think if it was me, I'd have kept Johnson over Perriman, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I probably would have, or would have went with one of the younger guys. I think Tompkins looked really, really good. See who they all land with. But whoever picks up Johnson's getting a good player, a good wide receiver. If he can sort out his drops, then he'll be a really good receiver.
I think he's gone to the Texans.
Texans, or maybe not then.
It was all going so well for Tyler Johnson. Then he went to the Texans.
No.
Oh, no, indeed. Yeah. Have we got any more roster moves before we talk about a couple of bad things that have happened?
Nothing really
have happened now.
Yeah, I'm wanting to know what the bad things are.
All right. Well, let's get right onto it. Let's talk about bad thing number one, and that is the unfortunate shooting of Commanders running back. Yeah.
I don't read Commanders news. Don't tell their football team. That's how I missed that one.
I'm going to get his name. Hang on.
Robinson, wasn't it?
Brian Robinson Jr. Yeah. Fortunately,
I was going to say, at least
non-life-threatening injuries, but still, he had a promising preseason. Has made the active roster despite being shot in the leg. So all the best to Brian Robson Jr. A speedy recovery, sir. It's a terrible thing that's happened. And the only good thing that's come of this is the way that Jesus Christ, I should really get better with names. Who's the coach of the football team?
Rivera.
Ron Rivera. Ron Rivera. This is where Ron Rivera excels in that being a decent human being, and which is in short supply at the Commanders.
Yeah,
but he's been excellent. Really, really great to see him rally around his injured player, and still make him feel part of the team and all that kind of good stuff. So terrible thing that happened. Great response from Ron Rivera and the coaching staff. A speedy recovery to Brian
Robinson.
God damn it! Spent all that time talking about Tyler Johnson.
Brian Johnson's the guy from AC/DC.
Yes. Tony Robinson's the guy from Blackadder.
And Time Team, yeah.
Time Team. Fans of pottery. Second bad thing that happened was all the a second NFL team failing to do its due diligence on a player. The now former Bills punter was accused. It's accused.
Oh, I managed to blank. I thought that happened like weeks ago now.
No, it happened like on Monday.
Well, at least they cut him like immediately.
It took them 2 days.
Yeah.
But at least
That's
the correct.
Than it took the Browns to cut Deshaun Watson. Still waiting.
it's at least they came to the right decision. It could be argued that if he wasn't a punter and he was a more valuable member of the team, then he might still be on the team, especially considering he wouldn't have faced a suspension from the league because he wasn't a member of the league when the incident is alleged to have happened. So he wouldn't have faced any discipline from the league. So if he was a quarterback, say, he might still be a member of the Bills. But because he was a lowly punter, even though he is punt god,
He's cunt god. Get it right.
I think that's a disservice to cunts, to be honest.
That's funny.
So that was fun. Another kicking the dick for people who enjoy American football, especially women who enjoy American football, who are seeing just how much the league cares about them, which is a swell. It's nice to know that half the people in the country, half the fan base, I'm guessing, are just not seen as people by some members of the NFL. Great to see. I love having to defend my sport against this kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the Buccaneers got quite a lot of social media, I wouldn't go abuse, but because they drafted Kamada ahead of Punt God. And I think it's because they obviously knew.
Maybe they did.
They knew, and
Maybe they did.
Jason doesn't like drafting bad character guys. He did his first few years, but the last few years he really hasn't.
Mm.
And it's quite clear the Bills knew and probably didn't think anyone would find out. And they'd been left with egg on their face. So
Yes.
I really didn't know.
It's
I want to
difficult.
think the best. I want to think the best of people. I like the Bills as a squad, as a team. They're really good. I want to think the best of them, but you're probably right.
Unfortunately. Isn't the NFL great? Football really... No, I'm not going to say that because that sounds like I'm going to brush the entire issue under the rug because we want the games to start, but I do want the games to start.
It's just bad apples in the bunch. That's all.
Yeah, it's definitely not an orchard where the problem is. It's definitely a few bad apples. However, I think some of the problems faced there are problems for society at large that the NFL cannot fix on their own. It's just we just prefer the NFL to be a bit more proactive, I think, in because if they had done their due diligence and not picked him and he hadn't got picked, see, there's the thing. If no one had picked him, people would be like, why has no one picked him? Oh, because it wasn't a secret. Like, he was well known in the university where he was playing what he'd been accused of. So, this is the NFL shit.
Oh yeah, I don't want to watch next week now.
It's not all bad. It's not all bad. Just look at the nominees for the Walter Payton Man of the Year. That'll always cheer you up. They were some great people. So
yeah.
There's lots of good folks in the NFL trying their very best. Just none of them work in the Bills front office. None of them work in the Bills front office.
It's bad when they say "Don't be a dick" award, basically.
Don't be a dick award.
Congratulations, you were the least dickish. Therefore, you did this.
I think you're being a little harsh there, Phil. The Walter Payton Man of the Year award goes to some very worthy people, generally. People who are trying to use their platforms for good. Which is all you can ask. Say that again?
Russell Wilson won it one time, right?
Did he?
I think so.
He did, yeah.
Did he get it for services in like corny speeches?
He did. He won it in 2020. Well, I never. Jesus Christ, Eli Manning won it.
That's just for services to comedy.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
I mean, let's be honest. The best part of the Manning cast is watching Eli just rip the shit out of Peyton all the time.
Speaking of Russell Wilson, he was just handed a 5-year contract extension by the Denver Broncos, including $165 million in guarantees. Good for you, Russell Wilson.
Well done. Good.
Still less than Deshaun Watson.
Yes,
yeah.
That's because the Deshaun Watson contract is insane.
Because that's the only way you can get someone to go to Cleveland.
I think you could have got a lot of people to go to Cleveland before that entire thing happened. You could have got a lot of people to go to Cleveland.
Really?
Yeah, they were looking good. They had a good roster. They'd made the playoffs.
I was just talking about Cleveland, the place, not...
Oh, right. Well, I am unfamiliar with the geography of Cleveland.
Them being called the Browns kind of works. At least Denver's got the Rocky Mountains and stuff. You know, it's beautiful. It's scenic. Cleveland's just flat and dull.
Flat and unscenic.
Was it another bit of bad news for most of the NFL, I would say. Brady is looking sharp. Pissed off. And that is bad news for 31 teams.
He didn't look pissed off in that speech. He looked more just kind of emotionally broken. He looked like he's just come, like whatever issue it was pretty fucking dire. That he's just like come back and he's like, yeah, no, there's some shit going on. Yeah,
no, he's sick of the shit in his life. He's sick of the shit in the media. He's just sick of all the shit, and he's going to take it out on everyone that comes before him. Possibly his centre and his left guard. Yeah.
I enjoyed the 20-yard pass to Julio Jones.
Yes.
More of that, please, in the regular season. That would be lovely.
It was basically a clone of a lot of Mike Evans runs.
Yeah. That's great. We can do them both, one on each side, doing the same thing. And then you can run Chris Godwin from the slot and Russell Gage in the other slot.
You're making an assumption that Julio Jones is not going to be injured for 9/10 of the season.
No, that is true. He is a brittle human being at this point of his career. However, those first 6 weeks are going to be great. Right. I think we're getting towards the end of all the news that's worthy to talk about. Unless you guys have got anything else burning away in your brains that you'd like to talk about prior to us signing off for another week.
Nothing. Stop me.
No, I think despite it being a busy week for teams, like majority of cuts are people that were going to get cut anyway.
Yeah.
So there was only those kind of couple of, I wonder where he'll go, and I'm surprised at that.
Yeah.
It's just the meaty stuff starts soon.
Yes. And I think what we'll do next week, as it will be a kind of lull before the storm, is we'll make some preseason predictions, because everybody loves preseason predictions. So if you are watching this here video, please leave us a comment with your preseason predictions. We want to know who you think's winning the division, who you think's making the playoffs, who you think's winning the Super Bowl, and what your award nominees will be. We will be doing the same. We'll try and get our friend Baz and his picks, because bless him, he's not very well at the moment, and we'd love to have him back on the show. So that's what we'll be doing next week. We'll be making preseason predictions and looking forward to Thursday night football and the kickoff for Realsies.
Woohoo!
It's been too long. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. It's been great fun, as always, and we'll see you all next week.
Well do.
Tatty bye.